Welcome to this Healing Lights edition brought to you by www.vibegarden.org. We're going to jump right into a mini reading before we get into the mini healing session. Essentially, the moon is sextiling Saturn, conjuncting Uranus in retrograde, which is in the sign of Taurus. Saturn's in 26 degrees of Pisces. And the moon is also conjuncting Uranus, sextiling Neptune, trining Pluto, squaring the part of fortune, and trining the vertex. The part of fortune's in 0 degrees of Virgo, and the vertex is in 0 degrees of Libra. There is a course correction taking place. Should I say course correction? There is a correction taking place in the structuring, societal structuring, allocation of goods, the allocation of who gets what. This is a very cosmic level structuring. So you could be experiencing a lot of release streams out there, collective. A lot of release streams that are aimed at assisting you in getting into alignment with your true North Star. So essentially what this means is what you truly want to be doing in life. This is meant to take the stress and the strain off of this idea that you have to be sitting in a certain position, right, to get crumbs. And some of what Uranus and Taurus is doing, it went into Taurus in retrograde. It was in retrograde and it went to Taurus in November. I think it was November 7th of this year, right? We're going into 2026, but it's still 2025. Uranus is on a cosmic level. The wavelengths of Uranus are helping people across culture and varying, with age groups. Even there's a variance through age groups to look at the bigger picture. So this can be disorienting, right? Because we're looking at the now and the now is looking a certain way. But there is a cosmic assurance in this energy that there will be corrections made and that there is going to be plenty enough for everyone, because there is plenty enough for everyone. The problem we've been dealing with has to do with those who are trying to hold things back that naturally are available. With the moon being here in the critical degree, 29 degrees, there can be mental strain in areas of career. You could be looking to change the way you were doing things. There's been a lot of trouble that has affected us all with AI, you know what I'm saying, being placed into the wrong positions and for the wrong reasons. Algorithms getting skewed, people not being viewed, the internet not being utilized, right, for what it should be utilized for. And this is something that ultimately there has to be more of a look, at that. There has to be more of a stepping away from supporting what is actually making it difficult for actual humans to have access to their resources. I do think there are people getting the picture with that. And I do think there are a lot of companies actually getting the picture with that, because the promises that AI made are not delivering. The money that was supposed to supposedly come from AI, it's not delivering. And yet, this has been an unreasonable ask on society, what it takes, right, to meet your bare minimum. So some of what this moon is kicking off as we exit 2025 is a momentum. As there's been increased strain on people, just to make ends meet, it's causing the mind to work differently. It's causing the mind to, the crown chakra to open. It's causing the mind to consider things perhaps maybe any given individual might not have been comfortable considering before. It's causing people to let go, right, of this kind of circle jerking energy and just start looking across the aisle at them, at other people, instead of getting used for political kind of like political gain, political reasoning, instead of being used. People are starting to get the picture. There is more sharing taking place, people finding ways to work with each other. And I feel like this is just the beginning of waves of energy where a lot more solutions come actually from the middle of this thing, and from people who, they might be job displaced, but they utilize creativity and ingenuity, and they make a way, person to person, bypassing algorithms. I think this is kind of what would end up having to happen, because when there's too much, balance is balance, and the vertex, the fate point, is dealing with balance. It's in the sign of Libra and 0 degrees of Libra. It does come to what is it that we can actually do that works and that makes sure everyone has, as opposed to this unnecessary strain that has really been making life unlivable. The sun is conjunct Venus, so this is actually a pretty good time to get money flowing in your life if that's been a concern. Venus currently is in 8 degrees of Capricorn. And if you are looking at the ways that you can increase your income, look no further than what people are asking for. Look no further than where the needs are. Number of different things come to mind, but there may be people who are looking to heal their relationship with their partner. Both partners may really be interested in doing that. And so there can be more opportunity for those who could find themselves in a position as some sort of like romantic therapist. You might have an unorthodox way of assisting people to break through patterns that are causing problems in their relationships and find an alignment that kind of works. Find a pathway back to getting into a warmth with one another and not feeling like you have to be alone, too separate or too individualistic within the body of your own relationship. There is room, right? People are looking for warmth in their connections, and if you are someone who can facilitate that, that's one of the areas that comes to mind. The sun is also conjuncting Mars, and Mars is in 12 degrees of Capricorn. So there is an ask at this time of releasing what no longer works, releasing what is essentially a meaningless set of actions. So if you have been doing things, keyword doing, it is Mars, because it seems like, well, this is how things are done. I do this because my family has always done this, right? These sorts of actions, these are the things to put under the microscope at this time. Because more fluidity is what is being called for when we're dealing with Capricorn energy, and any problems that arise in the areas of Capricorn, you want to now look at, well, where's the water? At the opposite side of the spectrum, the sign of the scarab, aka Cancer, where is the warmth? Where's the water? Where's the hearth fire? Where's the home energy? Where's the warm food? This is actually where the juice is at right now. These are the people that can balance the world. These are the people that can help to bring the sunshine back into the world. Jupiter is in the sign of the scarab. So if you're looking for abundance, it is in that balancing energy to Capricorn, which is where the warmth is. Spend time with other people. Get out of the criticism cycles, right? Because the North Node is in the sign of Virgo. Get out of criticizing too much. Get out of extreme fear. Capricorn can be a sign, right, where we can find ourselves also, as with Scorpio, but it can be a sign where we find ourselves facing the fears. Get out of that, and remember that we're in a frequency and vibration dynamic down here. So if you are vibrating with an energy that aligns with what it is you are seeking, that puts you in alignment with said energy, and so then all of the kind of statistics and probabilities in a way might a little bit be out the window where you're concerned, because you're actually vibrating in a way that it's a vibrational match to what it is you're seeking. And I do think there will be, probably moving towards May, could be before then, more of an increase of people doing just that, getting in alignment with vibrating the way they want to be living. I think there will be more of a resurgence, a return of focus to meditation, maybe even kind of group healing dynamics, releasing generational energies that no longer serve, finding ways to come out of judgment, finding ways to avoid getting involved in the hypercritical wave of extremely toxic and low vibrational energy that's kind of overtaken society, where so many folks have felt like they have the right to judge this one and that one, and that their way is the highway, and people who think kind of everyone is stupid. This is not doing anything to improve our condition down here. It's destructive energy. Pluto in 2 degrees of Aquarius is bringing the focus of Pluto, which is going to be a regenerative, a transformative energy, to the area of value. What we value, why we value it, how we are valued, why we are valued a certain way, and transforming our relationship to our value propositions and our value positions. The better than consciousness is on its way out because it doesn't work anymore. Better than consciousness doesn't work in a dynamic like what we have in society right now. Hyperinflating the pricing for no good reason doesn't do anything for those who are hyperinflating the prices. So at the end of the day, it's like it's too much fake it till you make it. There is a limit to these things. And eventually we have to come back to reality. And I feel like this Plutonic energy is helping people to feel it in their bodies when it's time to change position, when it's time to get in another vibrational alignment. Jupiter is retrograde right now in the sign of the Scarab in 21 degrees, very spiritual degree, spiritual decadent. And it's trining Saturn. So the concept of warmth, the concept of there being more than enough for everyone is appealing to Saturn. And Saturn as an energy right now in 26 degrees of Pisces, which is also a second house or Taurus degree, is hard pressed to deny that. So some of the things that are becoming more comfortable are, the warmer, more cozy, situations, products, people who are making it easier for people to access things. I do feel like that is who's going to be doing well in the short run. People who are making things accessible, restaurants who are making it possible to buy their food because they have sane pricing. These are some of the things that are coming up. I feel a lot of Palladian energies are working to help people get access to resources that they require and helping other people to soften their hearts. Because honestly, if we're going to make things better down here, we're going to have to start with that. We're going to have to start with stepping out of judgment of others, because that is not our position or jurisdiction, and start to look at the ways that we could be good to ourselves while also not forgetting those that may be in need. All right, y'all. All in all, at the end of year for 2025, we're closing. It was a 9-year numerologically. We're closing out a cycle where there was a lot of frustration, where there was pain, where there was power mongering, even in regular sorts of one-on-one relationships and in groups, and where it is becoming increasingly clear that this is no longer working at all in society, where we may have to face people kind of, head on, but very calmly, and disallow manipulation tactics to push us or push our actions in any particular direction. You could find a lot of relief in the dream time. I recommend, there are different dream teas that you can work with, like mugwort. I think mugwort and cinnamon, and even mugwort and lemon, especially mugwort and lemon for release dreams, can be super helpful at this time, because what we're looking to do is release energy that's trapped in the wrong timelines. And I think mugwort and cinnamon will help you to kind of resurrect your vitality and enthusiasm in life. In the dream time, it will help you to get in alignment with aspects of you that kind of need to revitalize and come back to the present now. All right, y'all. That is pretty much what's coming up with that particular part of fortune. With it being in 0 degrees of Virgo, there can be more of a work focus, but I would recommend, taking time for intentional relaxation right now, calling and checking on, loved ones, your people, letting them know that you care, letting them know you're thinking about them. Some of the way that we get that warm energy circulating in the world is by actively being warm and actively being a part of the communities that we're in. We got swept into kind of a pseudo digital culture situation, and this is the result. What we're seeing in the world is the result. A lot of fake it till you make it, a lot of circle jerking, kind of networking. One hand washes the other networking that resulted in some disingenuous energy that doesn't work anymore. There has to be enough to go around, or even those that may be in a position of so-called having, them having it no longer has any real meaning, sense of meaning to it. So there are those out there that are in need, and when we spend, there's a circulation of energy. This would be the time. I mean, I'm not saying be careless with your money, but this would be the time to give. This would be the time to spend on what is of quality. Turn your attention to what is worth your attention. Check on your internal health. Step away from unnecessary pride. If it hurts, admit it. These are some of the ways you can free yourself from the jam-packing crunch that we've been experiencing with some of these energies. All right, y'all. I hope you found this helpful. I saw Miss Nat2 posted earlier, and I'm going to be taking a look at her post for this month. But we're going to close out of this mini reading. I hope that y'all found this helpful, and we're going to move into a very brief session with Archangel Metatron, healing with angelic light frequency. All right. Take a moment to make sure that you drink some water, y'all. I'm getting myself centered. All right. All right. And the energy transmission is beginning. You might feel some cooling sensations around the head or around the midsection. Some of you may also be experiencing some head pressure with Syrian alignments that are taking place in the collective to help you to avoid going into increased states of anxiety. You could anticipate that you might have some release dreams after this session. Definitely drink a lot of water to help incorporate the energies from the healing transmission. All right. And we're actually going to be concluding. I'm being alerted we're going to conclude. All right, and we have concluded the healing transmission, and now centering my energy. All right. I hope you enjoyed the mini reading and healing transmission for this edition of Healing Lights. Happy New Year's to all of you. For those of you that celebrate the New Year at this time, though the natural New Year it's in the spring, right? That's actually when Earth tends to wake up. I feel like as an overall consideration, really focus on the calm. Really focus on making yourself as cozy as possible. Come into a trust with the universe. That is what's being called for at this time. You're not alone. There are angelics out there working overtime. Where we're at right now in society is a time that some might look like as a breaking point, but there is opportunity for breakthrough. There is the opportunity to reconnect within humanity with other humans, to come into alignment, talking about our feelings, all of the things, right? That, maybe we might feel like we don't want to do, but these very low vibrating energies, they can't cause trouble to the degree that trouble has been caused if we are releasing trapped energies from our energy field, and if we are aligning with the energy of flow. And this is where Jupiter as a planet is trying to direct us. I hope that you found this helpful. I'm going to close out here. For more looks into the stars and just different updates and posts, you can visit www.vibegarden.org. I also have sessions available for those who are interested in booking sessions to look at their star charts and see how they can navigate their way through current energies on a transit level, or just overall looking at the natal chart and seeing how it can help them to navigate their pathways forward, or even navigate healing of past pathways, so that where they are in the present is a little more well situated with the chi flowing through their bodies, as opposed to feeling blocked. I also do provide card sessions and that sort of thing. You can check out the website for more information. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, y'all. Peace.